Golfers are often lost with how they start the downswing. Today's video is all going to be about Sam Snead and his magic movement with his lead knee. Make sure you check out this video. So today, all about the start of the downswing movement, and I want to touch on what Sam Snead did so well in my opinion. I used to call him Slamming Sam because of his lead foot, and he was a long hitter as well for his day. So what we saw with Sam is he would lift that lead foot in the backswing. Now, it's a great way to load the pressure into this trail foot so we can move pressure rather than moving mass just by simply taking off one foot. So if I'm lifting the heel here, they've got less force down into the ground, therefore I've got more underneath my trail foot, and that's very different to this sort of shift. So if we do lift this lead heel, we've got to make sure the trail side responds by rotating out the way. So the lead heel will lift, the lead knee will kick in, my trail side moves out the way. It doesn't slide and continue in this way, moving mass. So it is this movement in the backswing. Now what then Sam did so well is he would start the downswing or even transition before he got to the top of the backswing, as his arms were just sort of finishing the backswing, just about to start the downswing, he would create this separation with his knees, where his lead knee, which is kicked in quite clearly, would start to move back towards more the middle of the shoe where it started. So kicking outwards and starting to rotate. Okay, that's a key move as well. So it's not just that type of shift movement, okay, with no rotation where you can see more of a slide and I've lost posture. The knee would be kicking out and starting to rotate, and that's really going to help me keep my backside more on the line, maintaining my posture. So this lead knee kicked back out and we created this bigger gap, this bigger separation between the knees. And I've done some videos showing a drill with a ball between the knees and how we can start to think about dropping it. So rather than refilming that, I'll put a link just here that I think is well worth checking out. A great downswing exercise to create that separation with the knees. I was just doing in a practice swing, a practice shot, so I just did a broken down one at the start there. So allow this knee to kick in, trail hip moves up and behind me. The start of the downswing is I replant, slam that lead heel back down into the ground, create a separation, a bigger gap between my knees. Now that does not mean this knee isn't going forwards, it is a little bit, but nowhere near as much movement as my lead side. So I'm moving towards the target and starting to rotate. How you'll know you're maintaining posture, you can see here almost my core muscles still pointing down towards the ground. If it's a slide this way without rotation, you can see my core muscles pointing way up in the air. So I'd start with this movement, let that lead knee kick in and rotate, slam it back down at the start of the downswing here, and golfers get a bit lost with what to do from there. It's almost as simple, once I'm in this position, as focusing on my pelvis, my belt buckle, moving up and to the left. So pushing upwards and starting to rotate. I often would say the 2 R's, rotate and rise from that position. Let me do it again. That wasn't the best strike of the bunch. I can't multitask, obviously, and talk and do it. There we go. Really got that feeling of pushing up with the pelvis to improve the contact on that one. Now, in terms of a full swing exercise, the ball between the knees, great, really good idea. Try and squeeze the ball in the backswing, so just a football or something along those lines, a beach ball. Squeeze the ball, drop the ball as we start that downswing in that transition movement. So the first movement is get that heel back down and separate the knees, create more width here. I've called it before, and other coaches have, cowboy knees, almost like we're riding a horse wide into this position, into this squat movement here. And now we can start to use the ground better. Amateur golfers tend to shift their pressure, but they shift way too late. So that's why with Sam, he was slamming that foot back down as his arms were still up in the backswing. So don't wait until here to shift your pressure onto that lead foot. You've got to shift it quite early, okay? And that's what I'm just doing with a foot wedge here. People often ask me where I got this from. This is Skills Golf Power Wedge, but just a dog squeaky toy, if you couldn't get hold of something like this, would do the trick. And obviously it's just got a noise to it. So set up to the golf ball. Going to go under that lead heel. And I'm going to allow this to click or unclick as my heel lifts, okay? And you can see here quite clearly my trail hip has gone up and behind me. It's not sliding, okay? And all I'm trying to do is, before I almost complete my arm swing, I'm going to try to re-click the wedge and create big separation between my knees. I'm just going to do it in a nice slow-ish movement. Maybe a little late, but give it a go. Get good with that movement, just taking the pace out of it to start with. So I'm letting the clicker click in the backswing as I allow this knee to kick in, my heel to rise. Now, you don't necessarily need this backswing move. You could keep that heel down and still create separation. And the squat move, I find it helps. I like the movement. As I said, I really like it as long as it's allowing that trail hip to move up and behind me. And if you're struggling to create a big coil, big turn in your backswing, allow that foot to come up, allow this knee to kick in a little bit. As long as the result is this hip going behind you, you're going to be able to make a bigger coiled movement. So let me try that again. So definitely re-slammed and got the noise while my arms were still up before I started my downswing. So just a simple exercise, just to get used to, as I said, that separation between upper body and lower body. Don't wait too long to get that pressure onto that lead side. So the pressure is down into my lead foot. My head is staying pretty centered. We're not going with everything. So it's creating some separation or disassociation between upper body and lower body. You can see my upper body has stayed back. My lower body is starting to unwind. The pressure is going downwards. You know, this would look very similar to almost a spear exercise that I've filmed before for a lot of you of not new to my channel, where we're starting to really get this lead shoulder moving more down towards the golf ball in this fashion, yeah, as we're again in this squat movement with this lead knee. So the wedge works well, the power wedge under the foot, the ball between the knees, great exercise. Just doing some a little bit broken down. Let me hit one without any training aids, just doing that practice. I'm going to allow the lead knee, or the lead foot, sorry, to come off. I'm going to allow the lead knee to kick in. And I'm just going to try and create that separation early here in the start of the downswing, top of the backswing. Well, that felt really solid. Having done some of those drills, and I've only done a few minutes of it, that was long for me for a 7-iron, got that separation sensation at the start of the downswing in that transition movement. You can see a nice shape as well there. So it's just really focusing on, the backswing didn't feel too strange to me. I do that anyway. So it's just really trying to be aware of, as my arms get to around chest height, my lead foot slamming back down towards the floor, my lead knee starting to separate. Great sensation to start the downswing movement. You know, and I'm doing all that without hitting down crazy. I hit down on it by 3.5 degrees. So it's not a movement where we're going here with our whole body. It is that separation of lower body movement. Let's finish with one last one. And this is true with any golf club. I don't care whether we're talking about iron or wood. I'm hitting here a mid-iron, a 7, but let's give it one more go. Left that one a little out right to target. Tried to perhaps be even more aggressive with that lead foot, but give it a go in practice before obviously you take anything to the golf course. For me, it's a great way and feel to start the downswing. Almost the arms are taking care of themselves. I'm focusing on really the knee movement, allowing it to kick in, the trail hip to rotate, and starting the downswing by separating the knees, that magic Sam Snead movement. If you enjoyed the content, hit the thumbs up, share with as many golfers as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Right now, YouTube is suggesting the next video of mine that's relevant for you. It's just here, so click on it and check it out.